Yo, this is your first time here, welcome. Been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to be running over a bit of a versus battle comparison between the Razer Wolverine Ultimate and the Razer Wolverine V2. We'll be giving each of them points on a set of different things around price, feel, durability, features and so on. If you do enjoy my content and you are interested, we're up to roughly 600 and something subscribers now, road to 1,000, which is amazing. So if you do have a little second, click that sub button, leave a like, leave a comment, do what you need to do. But I won't waste any more time, let's get to it. So, I've done a pretty in-depth video review unboxing on both of these products. First one I'll link here, this is the Razer Wolverine Ultimate. My saga with it, I had it originally, I posted a video, one of my best videos that's done on the YouTube channel, talking about it, and it went really well. I loved it. Then thing after thing after thing after thing went wrong with it, and I posted another video, which was my update on it later, basically where I wanted to throw it against the wall because I said it was a pile of shit. But anyway, that then led me to buying the Razer Wolverine V2. You would think that was a mug and would have learned from my first one, but I'll put that up here as well. The review to that, I've done that in detail. So I thought that it would be nice just to bring them together. If you're somebody who is looking at buying a new controller, maybe moving in the PC world, or looking for something for Xbox to use, then, you know, it'd be good to have them in two places, scored to see which is which and which is worth it. At the end, I'll go through all of these, I'll give them points, which one wins, and then I'll tell you what my opinion is on which one you should really go for. So, point one, price. The Razer Wolverine Ultimate is currently on Amazon, 159 quid. That's 160 quid for a controller. For a controller. Depending on your disposable income and how much you value things and the price of things, I'd say that's pretty fucking expensive for a controller, considering that's even more expensive than the Xbox Elite controllers. Go into that in another day. But anyway, it's expensive for the features and the things you get and what it is. I understand the price, and I obviously originally did pay that for this. However, knowing what I know and having used it for so long and things breaking and going wrong with it, is it worth the price? Nada. No, it's not. But anyway, if there's some of the features in that you might want as we go on later on, then it might make sense for you to pick that up. As for the V2, this is kind of the little brother, if you like, little sister, however you view it, little brother, little sister of the Ultimate. So specifically on price, before we get into features, it is currently retailing on Amazon for 84 quid. So that is just shy of half price for most of the same features. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And when I saw it, I had to pick it up just because. So if we're going, and I'll have everything about it, and obviously which I will go through in the next set of little competition headers, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But for now, on price specifically alone, that is absolutely definitely going to the V2. Look. So, depending on your outlook here, I think we know roughly what this looks like. Let's see if you can focus. So this is the Razer Wolverine Ultimate. It's a nice looking controller. The biggest difference in look here is that it has the RGB little strip across the front. What I'll point out is the amount of times I've had to fix it, that this doesn't look very good when it's covered in black tape. See if you can see that, to get the thing to stay together. So that takes away from the look. Apart from that, it's a nice black finish. It's got the rubber on the bottom, all black and silver, with just the only colour on it really being the RGB that you choose, plus the normal colours of the buttons and stuff. As far as it looks expensive, it looks like it costs money, because it does cost way too much money, but it looks like it costs, and it is nice. It does have a detachable wire as far as look goes, so if you're putting it up somewhere, you know, it's fine to store it that way and then plug the cable in after the fact, which is something the V2 does not have. As far as look goes, yeah, it's nice. Logo across here, logo on the front, everything is nice looking. The V2 on the other hand, this is it here. This is the V2, much simpler design, much smaller as far as look goes. It is all black, aside from these little green accents that you see here and here that go all the way around the back. Now, as far as look goes, if you aren't really that bothered about your setup, personally, I think it looks sleeker. It's got smoother edges around it. It just looks better and nicer in a setup. It's a little bit less bulky, a little bit less extreme. However, if your setup, you're pretty anal about the colors like me, that green, not good. So I am trying to find a solution where I can kind of fill it with some type of black or something, but I've just not quite gotten around to it yet. It does not have the detachable cable like I mentioned before, so storing it becomes a slight bit of an issue. However, it is nice, it looks nice, it has the majority of the features which we'll go into in a little bit, and it just, yeah, it does look nice, but that's subjective. So on the look, I'm afraid, mainly because of the RGB, I'm gonna give it to the Ultimate. So we're now one apiece. Features. Now, I want to caveat this with, you can throw a whole bunch of features at a controller, but if they all break, it doesn't fucking matter because you might as well not have the features in the first place. Anyway, moving on. So the Ultimate. The biggest difference here is that you've got the back paddles. So here's the back paddles that you see here. You've got these two buttons, yeah, and then you've got the extra buttons on the top, which is probably one of the reasons that you buy this controller. It has the back paddles and these extra buttons up here. All mechanical buttons. I'm not going to go into the detail of it because we're just talking about differences. But this does have the back paddles, which the V2 does not have. It does have these top buttons up here, but it doesn't have the back paddles. Talking in differences and features as well, a gimmick for me is the detachable thumbsticks. So it does have detachable thumbsticks, which you can change out. I have never felt the need to do it, and I've played with this for hundreds of hours, and I've never needed to remove them. Also, the removable D-pad, which again, I've not looked if there's accessories where you can buy more, but I have felt no need to remove the D-pad from there anyway. Aside from that, there's also the removable cable that isn't here, so you don't have that in the V2. And this section along the bottom, which is, if you specifically use it for Xbox, has all of the mute buttons, change party, set of buttons and stuff. I don't use them because I plug my headset in through the PC, and if you're using this as a PC controller, you'd never really have a reason to use that. So for the V2, like I mentioned, no paddles. For me, when I used that, I didn't really use the paddles anyway. I love these top two buttons, which was one of the biggest kind of sells for me when I was buying this. I needed these two buttons because they were fucking amazing for everything. I think in Warzone I use change weapon and action button, like boxes and shit. But yeah, that's the only real differences, like I say, is but there's those back paddles, the detachable cable, and the section at the bottom here. Everything else is mostly the same. It doesn't have the RGB across it, which might be a selling point for you, but it does have the input for the cable if you do need to use that on an Xbox to plug it in. It just doesn't have the mute buttons and whatever else on it, but most headsets these days do have the mute button on them anyway, so that's kind of the same. Both have mechanical buttons. Aside from the back paddles, they all have the same other buttons. The grips on the V2 I prefer, but I will still say, and I've said this in both my videos, after a while these grips stink as shit. I don't know why, they just smell. Hard to get the smell out. Sweat, grime, I guess. Maybe I don't wash my hands enough. I don't know what the fucking deal is with it, but they both have the same as that. So as much as I hate to do it, based on features alone and the features that they do have, as much as I think that the features, if you have them, break anyway on the Wolverine, this has to go on the Ultimate, sorry. This has to go to the Ultimate as well. So the Ultimate is now 2-1. I guess. Wear and durability, my favourite. So, I will link my follow-up video to the Ultimate up here. You can go and watch that if you want. But to put this bluntly, I've now probably used the V2 for just as much time as I used the Ultimate for. And I would like to report 0 issues. 0 stick drift, nothing falling off it. All my buttons work as they should. They all click the full way. Nothing has happened. It smells moderately, I guess. Like I've mentioned before. However, no issues. Nothing. Nada. None. Let's move on to this, shall we? So, issues-wise, we had a big falling apart bit here. I'm not even using this anymore, so I'll show you. Where, I don't know if you can see, but this basically separated and the little plastic bits broke out of here. Now, I'd just like to point out that I haven't thrown this anywhere. I don't know why this happened, whether I grip it too tight or what the issue is. But that's the first protocol. The second one is, this right trigger, the button, there's a little button here for the travel, right? And it's meant to adjust the travel of the trigger. This no longer does anything. It doesn't work. The travel doesn't move on that, so that's one thing. Now I've tried the kind of alcohol stuff like that you get, I can't remember what it's called, to try and loosen off dirt or grime or whatever. Done nothing. Same with the X button. So there's so much throw in these A, B, and then that X just does nothing. And it's done that for ages, and I took the controller apart, even at the suggestion of one of my viewers, and it done nothing. Tried to clean it, blow it, brush it, it did nothing. So there is that. The stick drift happened again when it didn't to start off with, and then suddenly it decided that the stick drift wanted to be mad. Can't think what else. What else do we have? So I mean, aside from it falling apart, the X button's not working, it's stinking of shit, the throw on the trigger not working, brilliant controller. But when you pay that price for a controller, you really expect it to be way better than that. I mean, you just expect better. And I was really upset by that, and I should have at the time said that I won't buy another Razer controller, but I just really like the gear, and then I bought the Tartarus, and it is what it is. But yes, as far as the versus for this one goes, durability, 1,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,0 V2. So the final one for me here is feel. Now, this is just, I'm not going to give feel of one and feel of the other. For me, I prefer playing with the V2. It's smaller, it's grippier, it gets less sweaty, the buttons are a bit nicer to play on, they're less purposefully clicky, I guess, and I don't have the paddles on the back. If that sways it for you, then obviously you might need to get that. You might need to get something with paddles. But the paddles for me weren't enough of a swap over for the feel to be good enough for me to justify that amount of price. So when we're going specifically on feel, imagining that they both cost the exact same price, then yeah, I'm going to give an easy round with very little explanation to the V2, which would give us a 3-2 split, therefore giving our winning title of the day to the V2. Congrats V2, you win. So yeah, I went through some of the features and some of the issues and some of the stuff, but mainly pay half the price, get a controller that's just as good without the back paddles. That's my overarching theme. If you're sitting wondering, should I get one, should I get the other? I think go with the V2. I have no reason why you would not do that. Aside from if you're maybe ridiculously addicted to RGB, but what I'd say is that you'll find no one more addicted to RGB than me, and that little strip on the top is not enough for me to be able to justify twice the price. I will leave links to both of them down below. Buy the V2, don't buy the Ultimate, or do, or tell me why I'm wrong. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to click the sub button, help me on the road to 1,000, that'd be great. Leave a comment what you think, whether you think I'm wrong, right, the usual, and I will see you in the next one.